Oh, Coach, you come in next. This is just for the. We do this and then we get to you. All right. Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Kansas State portion of the press conferences. At this time, we'll go ahead and just open things up. Remember, please, no videoing of the conferences. And when you get the microphone, if you could tell us your name and the affiliate you're representing, we would appreciate it. Any questions for the student athletes? Go ahead, Lindsay. He's right here.
Hi, Lindsay Gibbs with Power Plays. Just want to ask how you're feeling. Being in Raleigh, getting ready. What's the excitement level, nervous level? Talk us through some of the emotions.
Ioka, could you go first, please?
Yeah, I think our team's really excited. I think it was getting here was a goal we had from the beginning of the season. So just being able to do it, I think, is really exciting. I think the team's excited. I'm excited for our freshmen to have this experience. And yeah.
Serena, could you add anything?
Yeah, I think it's a huge opportunity for our program and to come out and represent K-State. This is my first postseason ever, so to just be in the tournament at all is really exciting, and we're just excited to take advantage of this opportunity we have.
Serena, could you tell us what you know about Washington State at this point?
Yeah, we've gone over scout. We know they're a good competitive team. They've got a good inside presence and some shooters and whatnot, but we're just really going to focus on what we've been working on this whole season and stay to the kind of play that we've done this whole season. So, yeah.
Any other questions? Ioka, you've had a lot of individual success, a tremendous amount of individual success. How do you compare that to team success? I mean, in terms of what's most important?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't have any of my success individually, without my teammates, just because, it is a team sport, and I can't get myself the ball, so really need the guards to help me with that. So, I am just really thankful for the guards I have around me. I'm thankful for just the way that we've all come in and just bought into the playing style, the culture, and just executed it well. Yeah.
You talked about the guards. Could you say a little bit about Serena? It's rather unusual to have a freshman up here, so she must have something going for her. Could you talk about that?
Yeah. I love Serena as a person, as a player. I think from the moment she got on campus, she wanted to work hard and just listen to what coaches had to say, to what veterans had to say. I'm really proud of just everything that she's accomplished. I'm really happy that she picked K-State and that she's my point guard. She's a great player, always works hard. She's going to do her job. Just proud of her. Happy she's here with me, yeah.
Serena, how much easier does it make your life having her in the paint?
Yeah, so much easier. I haven't really ever played with a post player as talented as Yoki, believe it or not. But, it just makes it hard for defenses, too. They have to choose if they want to, guard inside, guard our guards. They struggle most of the times to guard her with one player, so helps me get some assists. But she's just super fun to play with, and she's very humble, which is something I've looked up to a lot this season. Just after her 61-point game, there's nothing about her that would ever tell you that she just scored 61 points. So she's been a big role model to me throughout this whole season.
Okay, great. Could we go front row to Mitch here, please?
Yeah, Mitch Northam with the Associated Press. Ioka, you're at the top of teams' scouting reports a lot of times. Washington State's coach said earlier today they haven't really seen a player like you this season. What are you kind of expecting them to throw at you?
I think this season and just, we've played enough games to know that teams can throw a lot of different things at us. So, I think they could really throw anything at us, but I don't think it will be anything that we haven't seen before, or anything that we can't like make an adjustment to. So yeah, I think right now our team's focus is just on the things that like we can control, the things we can do well. And yeah, we'll go from there, I think, yeah.
Okay. Lindsay up front here.
Ioka, I noticed you've been posting on social media with Wingstop and seem to have some deals. This is obviously the first year that athletes have been able to have the name, image, and likeness deals. What has that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah, it's been really crazy. Just really thankful for the opportunity. Just to have like the opportunity to do NIL deals, but also just to represent like female athletes. I think a lot, like when it was passed or whatever, I think a lot of the deals that were happening were with male athletes, and it took women just like a little bit longer to be able to get big deals and to utilize that. So it's been exciting, it's been fun, and yeah, I think more like overall of that, I think it's just really cool to be able to kind of inspire that next generation and represent female athletes. Yeah.
Can we go to Kelly back there?
Kelly Gramlich, ESPN. We're calling the game tomorrow. And Serena, you and the Glenn twins are both all freshmen from Missouri, from a similar area. But why do you think you three have this quickly been able to make an impact? And you can speak for yourself, and if you want to, talk about your teammates as well.
Excuse me. Yeah, I've known the twins for a long time. We're all from Missouri, and we played on the same club team actually for a little bit. So we've had a connection. We know how we play together, and we play well together. We know what we're gonna do, kind of what the next person is thinking for the next step. Why we've been able to make an impact, I think we just came in and we started working hard. There's a lot of unknowns kind of coming off of COVID. Last season for Kansas State, there was some players out and different things for COVID. So there's a lot of unknowns. We just wanted to come in and work hard and just take any advantage that we were given. And I think we came in and listened to coaches, and yeah, we were just new to everything. We didn't really know what to expect, and we just took any opportunity that we were given, and we have fun doing it. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, we've got one online. Brandon Zenner. I'm clicking, and it's not doing anything. Oh, wait. Brandon, are you there? Hey, Brandon, do you have a question?
Yes, hello, Serena. It's Brandon Zenner with the News Press. I was just wondering if you could kind of just reflect on this past year you've had from going to a high school in Northwest Missouri up to now you're playing the NCAA Tournament, and obviously with big aspirations.
Yeah, it's pretty unreal to be sitting up here right now in the media of March Madness. It's kind of something you dream about. Growing up, my family's a big basketball family. We'd always do things with our brackets at home, watching on TV. So just to be up here, coming from a small town basketball to the big stage, it's a really neat opportunity. Super grateful.
Do you have any other questions, Brandon? No, he's gone. Okay, let's get Kelly up here.
Ioka, I've read some of the things that have been written about you this year, and the one thing that I've seen multiple times is that you like to bake. Yeah. You are a big baker. Yeah. Can you tell us what your specialty is, what you like to bake, and why do you like baking?
Yeah. So the specialty that's been talked about the most is my banana bread. Yes, which my coaches just had the pleasure of having a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And yeah, I like to bake. It's something that I always loved to do growing up. Something that like my mom taught me how to cook. Always had these like recipes where she never needed instructions for. I'm not at that point yet, but yeah. So it's just something I've always loved to do. And I think like during the season, like things get so crazy and busy. It's important to have things that you just love to do that don't like require a lot of extra work mentally and stuff. Yeah. So it's just something that I've just loved to continue to do, especially just to have something fun to do and like bring it to other people because they love it. So yeah.
All right, we'll now continue the K-State press conference with Coach Mitty. Coach, if you could please make an opening statement for us.
Well, we're like the 68 teams that were able to get into the tournament. We're excited about that opportunity. It's kind of cliche to say that, but this particular team started off in the summer, coming off a year that many of them weren't even a part of. We had some young ones that you guys talked about, but they also had been a part of our recruiting prior to that. So they'd been a part of our program for a while. And they came in right away and worked extremely hard. The group returning was able to go play in the 3-on-3 tournament at the start of the summer. That was a big deal for us to get some experience, and I think kind of a race last year and set us up to have the kind of year that we've had. This particular team, I would tell you this, we're not surprised by being here. I'm not surprised at all by being here because we could see it very early on that they had the work ethic, they had the chemistry, they understood what was necessary to invest in being good. They understood that very early on. We didn't have to prod them. We didn't have to get them into the gym. Many times at night, if I went back to the gym, July recruiting's obviously big. You come off the road, you go to the office at 9 o'clock at night, and you hear the ball bouncing, and you got 2 or 3 freshmen in there shooting at 9 o'clock at night. I think if you catch your players doing right things enough, you can sort of sense that they get it, and this group did. I also want to say that I appreciate the questions picking up with our student athletes, because I think you guys have to tell the story. And I think that you got to do it better, too, because you've got a second-team All-American, you've got a first-team All-American on other teams, you got a national record holder here, you've got a player that's been named, and we got to tell those stories. You guys have to tell the stories, but I can't tell them. And they're the ones, you've got, I appreciate the question on the NIL deal, because Ioka Lee is one of the top female athletes, not in Kansas, not in North Carolina, but in the country. And those stories have to get told for other female athletes to be able to reap the benefits of the NIL, because it's not just a male situation for those athletes, and they're deserving of it. They're well worth it. They're well worth it. So I appreciate that the questions picked up. I was a little concerned at the start of the press conference that they weren't going to pick up the way I felt like these athletes deserve it. But we're excited to be here, and I think that we were in Raleigh early. We know that this is a very talented region, and we know that there are a lot of talented teams here.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll now open the floor up for questions. Let's start with Mitch over here.
Yeah, Coach Mitch Northam, Associated Press. You mentioned the NIL deal. I wonder kind of how, as a coach, how you handle that with your players. Do you kind of just let them do their own thing, or, do you have any kind of guidance in that?
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of gray area that we're having to balance as coaches, because, we have young people that want our advice, but we've got to be careful there. And so, Ioka was fairly reluctant to do this, and in that she's a pretty private person. But the 61 points, you don't get to be private after that. Kind of catches people's attention, and so we talked about how to best manage that. And my role with the NIL deal is more just giving her guidance about how to manage it the best way she can. And she's very particular about her brand. She's going to be a sports psychologist. That matters to her. She's in her master's program now, and it matters to her that the things that she represents, the companies, that it's going to be really important that she represent the right people. But mine has just been, I think as a coach, we're just trying to navigate, help them. I had somebody tell me this one time. It's so true right now. In anything, this age group can get information everywhere, right? They can get any information. It's up to us adults to kind of help them decipher that information, because they can go get it anywhere. It's kind of up to us to kind of guide them and help them in that, and that's kind of my role with Yoki.
Let's go to Lindsay, and then we'll get Kelly.
You're talking about how important it is to tell the stories of female athletes. Obviously, a big story is the fact that this is called March Madness this year, and the fact that there are 68 teams. I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the changes the NCAA has made in the past year for the women's tournament, and what you would like to see going forward?
Well, I think it's a good first step. I don't know what took so long. It's really a shame that, if we're really being truthful, would it have happened if Sedona Prince didn't put out video stuff? Would it have happened if we weren't in the bubble? Probably not, And so those things have been positive for our game. And I think what you're seeing is there's more of a light shined on some of the viewership things that are going to be important for TV deals, and I think they're going to see that women's sports is entertaining to a lot of people out there, and valued more than the sports we're given credit for. But I think it's a good first step. I'm glad that those changes are being made, and I applaud them for making them. It just took longer than I think it should have, and I think everybody agrees with that.
That's good. Kelly?
Hey, Coach, just talking a little more about Ioka Lee, and I know that she had an injury in high school, so she redshirted that first year. When did you, obviously she's 6'6", and she's got talent. You could see that.
Yeah.
When did you realize that she could be a legitimate game changer? And then just what else should we know about her in terms of telling her story?
Well, a couple things. So she ACL'd like her last game of her high school career. So she was not 100% going to redshirt, but she came in. I think it's different for centers. And so we decided to redshirt her. So I want to say January 15th, she got cleared of that redshirt year to practice contact. So on January 16th, we knew. Okay, it was like, oh wow, and we could we could tell in drills, But then when we saw her get into contact and we saw her, we're like, oh, this kid really gets it. This kid likes it. This kid likes the contact. Those kind of things. So it didn't take long. I've told people this many a times. If it had been the COVID year where it was a free year, we'd have played her on January 17th, and she'd have started for us. And unfortunately, we didn't have that. I think that what I said earlier about Yoki is, and Serena alluded to it, of how humble she is. And I think a lot of this is kind of a dream to her right now, and that she's such a humble kid, 61. She had no idea. She had no idea during the game. She had no idea. She kind of knew that people were yelling loud during the game, if you saw some of the stories written about that game. But she wasn't any different in practice 2 days later than she was. And I didn't even question that. I have a lot of people who don't know Yoki say, well, what are you going to do to get her feet back on the ground? What are you going to do to get the head out of the clouds? That was not an issue. I think for her, it was more of an issue of kind of managing kind of all the attention, because she can be a private person at times and kind of enjoys those quiet moments. And there wasn't a whole lot of quiet moments the first couple weeks after that. So, no, she's a real humble person, great teammate. Teammates love her. She's easy to root for. She's easy for, if you see the video of her scoring it, that's pure joy on our sideline for her. And, she said it right away in this press conference. You don't score 61 as a center without your team being happy for you. You don't get the ball. Somebody, hey, it's not I'm going to get we're up 20 in that game at some point, So her teammates love her, and that's just the kind of person she is.
Okay, Patrick Kelly.
Again, reading more about that night, and when your quote where you said you didn't even look up until you saw 58.
Yeah.
That she had 58. So what was going through your mind as a coach in that situation, and who told you, or were you already aware that the record was 60?
No, Randy Peterson was noise was starting to happen behind the bench. So then the word got to me that 60 was the record. She was on the free throw line at the time, and I just kind of was looking up just to kind of check the time. We had made a good push to start to get the game away, and Oklahoma is one of the top scoring teams in the country, so they can come back in a heartbeat. So, we were still keeping the pedal down. But yeah, when I looked up and saw 58, I just thought it looked weird. I hadn't seen that on a scoreboard before. And then started to hear some of the chatter. And so, yeah, decided to leave her in. And then I've been asked the question, did you think about leaving her in longer? Not really. Not really. I think it was the right moment to pull her. I think it was the right moment for her, the right moment for our fans. And so, yeah, it was pretty cool, though, to give her a hug coming to the sidelines. And it was pretty cool to watch the team's response later. But like I said, that's just kind of the team we've had this year, and kind of the connection that this group has had.
Get Mitch up front here.
Just kind of looking ahead to tomorrow, what kind of challenges does Washington State represent? What are you expecting? What have you kind of seen on film from them?
Yeah, quality team out of the pack. I think they're very disciplined. They've got good balance, I think, across the board. They've got veteran guards. They've got veteran inside players that have really been very, very good. I think they're solid at both ends of the floor. I think they're able to play at a couple different paces, too. They can play a faster pace if they want to, or they can play a very disciplined game if they want to. So we know that they're a really good basketball team. It doesn't surprise me with, we've played teams in the PAC, and obviously the PAC's been a strong league, and certainly would expect anybody that comes out of the PAC to be a good team.
Back to Kelly.
Coach, I feel like most coaches think, well, he has Ioka Lee. That's got to be a good situation. But I also have to imagine you have seen some defenses thrown at you this year that you maybe haven't seen before. What's the craziest way that you've seen a team try to guard Ioka Lee, and how do you counter that, and what have you guys worked on specifically?
I think that, when you have a center like her, I compare her to Griner in terms of when she was in college at Baylor, and everybody kind of did some different things, whether they double teamed her, sandwiched her, whether they bring help. The one thing with Lee is she doesn't put the ball down to the floor much, so people have generally gone to don't let her touch it is the way that they've tried to. So they've sandwiched her. They haven't guarded certain players on our roster. And we saw that. We didn't see it as much early. She had some big games early. She had 43, but that was a size mismatch. But when she started putting up numbers against other size, that's when we saw people go, okay, we're going to have to commit more people. So, yeah, I think we're kind of ready for everything right now. I think everybody has, much like we do with a great player at the top of the scouting report, you start asking the questions, what can we do within our defensive system to best stop her and not get away from what we're good at, but also what can we do? And so we've seen a little bit of everything.
Okay. Any other questions from the room? All right, let's see if I can.
We haven't seen all 5 Garter yet, but we're ready if it happens. We're ready, yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can get Brandon on here again. Brandon, can you hear me?
Yes, Coach. Brandon Center here at the St. Joseph News Press. A couple quick questions.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Can he hear me? Go ahead, Brandon. Can he not hear me?
Sorry, Coach. I think you got me now. I'm driving to Alabama, covering Missouri Western. A couple quick questions. You have ties to Missouri Western, obviously, with Coach O, Coach Nick. Can you just speak about what those mean, and then what it means seeing them where they're at, if you've been able to keep up? And then also Serena Sundell from Maryville. Just how impressive is her just doing what she's doing so early in her career?
It's been great to have Serena. I haven't done this many interviews with Northwestern Missouri in about 30 years, Brandon. So that's been great to go down memory lane there. But Serena's been great to have on the team. I'm going to have a book of Serena-isms by the time I'm done. She is. She's been a lot of fun to coach and great competitor. I've referenced numerous times. It's a kid that never has not asked to come out of the game one time this year, and she's played 49 minutes in a double overtime game, played 40 numerous times, and she just never asked to come out. And then I think you mentioned Missouri Western going to the Elite Eight this year. You know, I follow the MIAA because Coach Nick just came from the MIAA. Obviously, Shannon and I, my wife, we played in the MIAA. Our daughter played at Fort Hays, so we kind of get. But I got to be honest, you know, when it gets to February, I kind of lose a little bit of track of other things. But I actually caught the last 12 seconds of Missouri Western's victory over Hays, and only because my wife came into our home office and said, "Hey, are you following this on Twitter? Hays is down 1, and then I think Hays went up 1, and then Mo West." So they've had a great run. Good luck to them. Good luck to them in the Elite Eight. It's good to see them back in it.
Any other questions, Brandon? Okay, I think
He's in the trees, Alabama. You can't. I've been there. I've been there.
Any other questions from the room? All right. Thank you very much, Coach.
All right,
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you all.